Hey YouTubers, Christopher Wanamaker here doing a new 5-year rideshare driving advice video, like hints, tips, and tricks for being a good rideshare driver. Now, I am no longer a rideshare driver after 5 years of doing it, 2.5 years Lyft, 2.5 years Uber, a total of 7,100 fares after doing it for 2.5 years for Lyft, and I completed 5,710 fares, and then I did another 1,290 fares with Uber over a 2.5 year period. With Lyft, I was a solid 5-star driver, and with Uber, I was an average of in between a 4.96, 4.97 rated driver. I've had a few little instances, and incidents here and there, a few little safety, comic concerns and things like that. But otherwise, the majority of knocking out 7,100 fares in a 5-year period was overall very enjoyable and pleasant. So I'm here to share my hints, tips, and tricks, even though since the end of the third week of January of 2023, I gave it up because about a month before I got done with my 10th and final semester of college. I got my bachelor's degree in mid-January of 2023 from Washington State University, Vancouver. And so because of that, and I was done with college, and I was doing it mainly because it was a good side job that when I was fully done with all my homework, for the week, then I would go out and drive for about between 30 to 35 hours a week. It's a little under, full time, and I would be able to make some extra money on top of what I was making from my using my post 9/11 GI Bill while I was going to school, what they were paying me per month. So that is, a bit of my experience and all of that. So I want to go over my personal opinion of hints, tips, and tricks of how to be a really good, effective, rideshare driver. What things you got to think about and consider, to help you decide whether is this line of work for you. How to get better ratings, how to get better tips. How to be able to tolerate the customers who, test your patience or push you to your limit, and all the other kind of stuff. So, also how to save money in a variety of different areas too when it comes to rideshare driving. How to get more bang for your buck and save yourself money in different areas. So, let's get right into it, okay? So, one of the very first and probably the most important thing is when considering becoming a rideshare, Uber, Lyft driver, or something similar to it, you need to really think about where do you live? And is it a populated area where you can get a lot of customers? You get a lot of requests, rideshare requests from either the Uber, Lyft, or both platforms. And what kind of vehicle do you have? How far are you from the populated areas? What kind of mileage do you get? Are you willing to put in the time, energy, and effort to make the good money? So I'll give an example of what I'm talking about. I live in Ridgefield, Washington, several miles north of northern Vancouver, Washington. Now, keep going a little further north, you get into Woodland. So Woodland's not too far away. So, but beyond Woodland, Washington, then you're, really getting up there. And if you have like a pickup truck, a gas guzzler, and all that, then, is it really worth, say, you're up in where now my brothers live, like the Kelso Longview area, and I've, activated my app for Uber driving, and I get like no pickup requests. I get people that come from this area, Portland, Vancouver, Ridgefield, and especially at the A Casino 2 miles north of me in Ridgefield. I get, picks up from there, and then I took people up to like Kelso Longview area. But yet, do I actually get any pickup requests from that area? No, not really. It's too far. It's too isolated. So that pretty much means, if you have a pickup truck, you have a gas guzzler, and all that, and you live, past north of Woodland, Kalama and Kelso Longview and all that, or even further, Castle Rock or whatever, and you want to drive for Uber-Lyft, unless you're in the more populated areas or right on the outskirts of Portland, Vancouver, let's say Tacoma, Seattle, those kind of places, that it's really not worth driving. Even if you have an electric car, even if you have a Prius or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's too far, So, and then you have to think about that. No matter where you end up at the end of the night, you could end up all the way. Maybe you live in Kelso Longview, and by the end of the night, you picked up people in like Ridgefield, Vancouver, Portland, and they took you all the way down to Canby, Oregon. Now you have to drive all the way from Canby back to Kelso Longview. It's just way too far of a distance. You're going to be using a lot of gas mileage. So unless you are near major populated areas, or you're on the right on the outskirts, and you plan on putting in the time, energy, and effort, constant rideshare driving for Uber or Lyft or both, it's and what kind of car do you have and all that kind of stuff. It's not really worth it. So that's one of the very first things you have to think about is your surrounding area and environment, where you located, and the type of vehicle you drive, and how much gas you use, especially with the high gas prices. I mean, hell, here in Ridgefield, a half a block away from my apartment complex, Rozaire's grocery store and gas station, it's $5 unleaded right now. It's like $5.36 for premium. So because of that, you really have to think about, is it really worth it, especially if you don't have like a Tesla or something. Other things when it comes to Uber and Lyft, if you didn't know, you have to have a 4-door vehicle, and you have to have driver's license, insurance, vehicles registration. You have to show proof of all that. They will do an inspection of your vehicle. You're not going to be able to pass if you are missing bumpers in the front or back, if you have major cracks and stuff in any of the windshields and stuff, broken windshield wipers, donut tires on the car. They're not going to pass you if you have all of that. You have to have insurance, current registration, current driver's license, all that kind of stuff. It has to be 4 doors. I believe the last time I checked with Lyft, and I stopped working for them at end of January of 2020, pretty much from what I was tracking is you can't have a vehicle that is more than 10 years old with Lyft. And then for Uber, last time I checked, it was a vehicle that was no more than 12 years old. And all of them have to be 4 doors in good condition. None of the dash lights can be on, so like a check engine light and all that cannot be on, or any other kind of lights, even if there's a PSI tire thing or anything. None of the major warning lights on your dash can be on and active if you want to pass for safety inspection to be able to drive for Uber and Lyft. So there's that. Now let's get into some of the smaller things on, what did I do to, be more efficient over time? How did I save money in gas and car washes and things like that? So one of the first things I'd be talking about is filling up at the gas pump for cheaper. Now you can do 2 different ways of this. I've heard Gas Buddy app. Download that, use that, and then pretty much, but one thing I did, which is, it sounds like, pretty much almost the exact same thing that Gas Buddy does, is I just would Google, local gas stations from Google, and then it would pull up all the nearby gas stations in my area, and I would, scroll and look around and find out, either where's the cheapest, or also, I had a Lyft of Shell fuel rewards card. I get anywhere from 5 to 7 cents off, per gallon. And so I would try to find, the cheapest but closest by like Shell station to use that gas reward card, and then, to get a cheaper fill up. So, and then one other thing that I did is, anytime I was at between a quarter to a half a tank of gas, when I was out and about, I would, get to a gas station or shut off the app or whatever, and I would go fill up, so that way I no risk of running out of fuel and stuff and having to get hiking or hitchhiking. So there's that. So use use your technology. Use a Google. Use a Gas Buddy app and try to find the best prices for fuel in your local area. One thing I had a major experience in was saving money at car washes. When I first started Lyft driving in October 2017 in Colorado Springs, Colorado, for the first 2 to 3 months, I think it was about 100 days. I'm a very clean, very organized person. I want my vehicle for my customers to be very clean inside and out. And so one thing I was doing was I was going to a nearby Speedy Shine car wash location, and probably in a week, because I was going through so much, I was paying the full prices of right around $80 to $120 a week. In car washes. And then I found out they do memberships. And so if you can find something like that, and what I was doing when I finally signed up for a membership, I was paying $21 per month to get a once a day, a high, $21, I think, or $20 or $25 once a day car wash go through. And they had also free vacuums and garbage cans, so I empty out my waterline garbage can with any garbage, and I'd be able to vacuum the seats and the floors and all that kind of stuff. So, if you can find a local car wash somewhere in your area that does memberships where you're not paying for the higher price, of a daily car wash or every other day car wash or whatever, because you're driving so much, that is the better way to go. Clean vehicles and upkeep. So pretty much this is, I am someone who believes in, like I said, a very clean, organized person. After so many customers come through my vehicle, I would want to, whether you have carpeted or all-weather leather floor mats, pull out the floor mats, wipe them off, vacuum them if you have a dirt buster vacuum or something. Beat them off out of the car, whatever, because after, one or, 2 dozen customers in a day, it's, quite dirty. Their feet were dirty and all this other kind of stuff. So, and then, if you have fabric, seats, vacuum, and then after either someone spits or pukes or whatever, you're going to need either take it to a detailing place. If you have your own Bissell shampooer, you can clean it yourself when that happens. Or after so many customers come through, like after 6 months worth of driving, then maybe if you can pull out your own Bissell shampooer and all that and shampoo your own car, or take it to a detailing place and all that, then that's the way to go. Keep good upkeep and cleanliness with your vehicle, because I have seen and heard stories from my customers. I've seen, after they probably got fully inspected and approved to become an Uber-LYFT driver, and I've seen people, after they got passed and they don't need to get a new update for a year or two, then I've seen drivers with cars with a missing front bumper, a missing back bumper. I've seen, major cracks in back or front windshields, missing headlights, donuts, half flat, tires or donuts on their car. And I've heard from customers of how there are a lot of drivers who they have garbage. They treat it like it's their bedroom. There's garbage and bottles and diapers and laundry and all this other stuff within their vehicle. And you're in a service industry, people. You act like you're freaking Alfred, the butler for Batman. Everything is clean and tidy as much as humanly possible. And understanding that major storms coming through, and or it was a snowstorm or something, and so they got snow on their feet, and they come in, and your car's going to get a little dirty. That's common sense. Or it rains, so they walk through mud or whatever. So yeah, your car's going to get a bit dirty. But after so many customers, a dozen or two, after or your full day of driving, you got to clean that up and detail it yourself. Make it look good, inside and out preferably, but definitely inside as well. Until you get back on the road and start driving the next day before you do that. So that is something that's really important to me. It's like pick up your garbage, have waterline garbage cans, throw the garbage in the garbage cans. Every time you drivers get to a gas station, empty out that one or two garbage cans that you have that you filled with stuff. Fully empty them out every single time that you're at the pump or a mini mart or something like that. But keep your area clean. And also my waterline garbage can, I also usually have a can of Febreze after either stinky customers get out or they smell like marijuana or just a woman's coming in my car. I spray a little quick Febreze, in the surrounding area, back seat and front seat. And then I also have, if I need them, a Lysol, a little plastic cylinder of Lysol wipes. Whether they want to use them. I also have moist towelettes in my center console in a Ziploc bag with other things. So whether the customer needs them, I also had spare masks when COVID-19 was going on. In that Ziploc bag, I even have cough drops, and I got Tylenol and things like that. So being prepared is good, but having your cleaning supplies or Lysol too, especially if you have leather seats instead of fabric seats or something. Or even I guess Lysol wipes could even be used for some fabric seats. But having if you have leather seats, maybe more like the Armor All wipes would be good too. So having some cleaning supplies both for your customers and for your seats and dashes and all that kind of stuff, and with a good Dirt Devil vacuum kind of thing, like a Shark dirt buster kind of vacuum. That's what I have. They're like that. That was probably one of the best little mini vacuums that I've ever bought, and it was like $90 from Walmart with a charging port as well. So that's pretty important. Cleanliness and keeping up with things. And it's like, guys, if you have damage to your vehicle, you shouldn't be on the road until you go get it fixed. If that means you got to go donate plasma or sperm or whatever, take part in a sleep study and do something to make some extra money that way, and then put that money into making your repairs. That's the way to go. I actually had a customer once tell me that a few days before I picked her up, how she got picked up by I believe a Uber driver, and I was a Lyft driver at that time in Colorado Springs. And he pulled up in a Mustang, and it had a donut, and it was partially flat. And then along the drive, she it fully blew, the tire blew on his car, and so he was broken down and all that, and so she had to hike over a mile to get a signal to order another different rideshare driver to pick her up and take her the full way. So knowing that he had the donut on the car, he shouldn't have been driving until he got that fully replaced. So that's right there. So when it comes to tax write-offs, this is a pretty big one. And what I would say is, what kind of things, should you be holding on to for tax write-offs? This is a thing that, makes it where when you drive, what money you get both in, from the platform, from the, what you receive from Uber or Lyft on the platform as a paycheck once a week, and the tips, it makes it where you get more bang for your buck, because you're doing different things when you're spending money on other things like gas, fast food, amenities like gum and bottles of water, Crystal Light powder packets, chargers for your vehicle, upgrades, amenities for you and the customers, and all that kind of stuff. You're getting a tax write-off, so you're not going to owe the government more money, so it makes the money that you come in, you get more bang for your buck, pretty much. So definitely, start thinking about getting a 3-ring binder like this. I got a small one with document protectors. Have multiple document protectors in here, and then one for gas receipts, and the most current one in the front to keep it organized. one for car wash receipts, one for all your fast food. Have another document protector with receipts for all the amenities that you products you buy for the car and install, or and then all the expendable items, the bottles of water, the gum, Crystal Light powder packets, whatever little things that you hand to the customers, and it's like a one-time use thing, and then it gets thrown away. Think about all those kind of things and all those kind of receipts you keep in here, and then once the year is over with and you're filling out your taxes and all that kind of stuff, you're getting ready to, you're combining everything together, you're adding everything up, you're writing it all down probably on like an Excel roster or something, a digital Excel roster, to add it all up to send it to your tax person. Then once all that is said and done, you take all these document protectors and probably put it in the small ones in a bigger document protector with all the other tax paperwork, and probably do up a blank piece of paper and write on it, 2023 taxes, keep on hand no later than 7 years. So if it's for this year, 2023, then by 2030, 2023's all tax paperwork can be pulled out and tossed once it's after full 7 years. Why? Just in case you get audited by the IRS. You have all the paperwork to prove and show everything, and they can comb through all the receipts and stuff as well. So that's why, and that's what I did. And then, what kind of receipts do you want to keep on hand? Gas receipts at the pump. Put that in one separate document protector. All the receipts for all the amenities that you provided for the customers, the water, the gum, Crystal Light powder packets, and anything else that you can come up with that are the expendable items. Any of the provided products in the car or accessories. So, the different chargers for phones, and anything else that you think of or come up with that you provide while in the car. You buy an umbrella or the sun visor, or anything that's a dash cam. There's a big one. All these different products. A phone mount that clips onto your air vents. So you have a wireless, phone mount system. All those things are amenities that you added to your car in order to improve upon the car, improve upon the business, but it's being used for the business. Keep all of those receipts, car wash receipts, all your fast food receipts. So if you're on the clock, shut it off to get something to eat, and then you're turning it right back on. So it's during your work time, but you're taking like the lunch, dinner break, and all your, whether it's food from a mini mart gas station or it's from a drive-through, whatever it is, keep all those receipts. Even your vehicle registration, and this is if you're like a full-time rideshare driver. Your vehicle registration per year, keep track of that. What did you spend on that? Your phone bill and your mileage IQ tracker. You're going to need to buy like a mileage IQ as example of one. It's an app, $60 to $80 per year to so you every time you're got done driving, you pull this app up, you open it up. Left swipe for that was a personal drive, here to the grocery store and back again or whatever. Right swipe, it was business. And then at the end of the year, once the year's over with, now you got to get ready for taxes. You log into the Mile IQ actual website. You pull up, you put in the parameters, January 1st to December 31st, 2023. Then you hit the button of business, and then it will download, it will compute and download everything that you submitted that was specifically a business drive, and then it will add everything up. And it used to be like 55 cents per mile tax write-off. I think it's like 58 and a half now for this year. and so that's a good amount. And then you can download that paperwork, and you submit that to your tax accountant person. And then they use that for tax write-off purposes. So instead of owing the government a lot of money, especially being a rideshare driver, you're a self-contractor, so they don't pull out taxes for you. And so you're going to have to pay some taxes. But then if you do all these little hints, tips, and tricks that I'm saying, both mileage tracker, using a mileage app, paying 60 to 80 bucks for a whole year, totally worth it. Or you're using all these other like gas receipts, food receipts, car wash receipts, and all of that. It's one or the other, whichever one's more is the one that the tax account will go with. And then it's like, oh, the mileage thing is, and then you can get rid of everything else. So whichever one they went with. So, but yeah, your Verizon phone bill, or any phone bill really, whoever you have, is because you're using data. You're using your phone during the business, so you're using your data. So as long as you have the capability of like digitally downloading or printing up or whatever, every month's phone bill showing how much you spent, and then add all that up and throw that on your roster. What did you spend in the past year for driving? Unless maybe there was a month that you didn't drive at all, like say all of let's say next month, all of July of 2023, then I probably wouldn't count that month for a phone bill because I didn't drive at all. So, but if there was even just 1 hour, and you got some customers and all that in that month, then I'd be, claiming and downloading your phone bill and adding it to your receipts for tax write-offs. Even your auto insurance that you pay per month. Any receipts from auto detailing, any receipts from your, if you did any kind of vehicle upgrades, if you got new rims, if you got a vehicle wrapping, if you got, like I did not too long ago, last October, switched from fabric seats to leather upholstery. So I kept all those receipts to these upgrades. I kept the receipt for the carbon fiber 50 cal bullet antenna to add to my car, the new LED lights, a leather a steering wheel cover that was sewn on over my steering wheel that fits my style of my steering wheel perfectly for my car. All these upgrades and stuff that you did made improvements to your vehicle. Even the went from fabric carpeted floor mats to all-weather leather floor mats. Kept all the receipts for those. All that can be tax write-off because I got them and within the year that I was still driving. So, and then one of the last ones is maintenance service receipts. You want to get a 3-ring binder with document protectors for this. Here is mine. And then pretty much the simplest way to put it is every single time you go get any kind of repairs and maintenance services, oil change, coolant flush, transmission fluid flush, brake fluid flush, and replacement of all these things, replacing of brakes and rotors, and new tires, replacing a windshield through like Safelite or whatever. All those things, keep the maintenance service receipts, and then the most current services, which like for me, I'm going and getting an oil change, coolant fluid flush and replacement, and getting a new battery and install tomorrow morning at Vancouver Hyundai Services. So the newest, I already have a document protector, clear one, ready to go. When I get home, take the service paperwork and put it right in here. And this does a couple of things. Not only does this help you keep track of everything, so you have the history of your vehicle. And what it can do is two big things. One is, as long as you have almost all the maintenance service receipts from either the time you receive the vehicle until the time you get rid of the vehicle, or at least from right around 60,000 miles, when some more major services need to be done. If you get it right around 60,000 or right before 60,000, then start keeping the receipts like from the very beginning, that once you have the physical control of the vehicle, but definitely by 60,000 or more, because nothing really major happens from 0 to 60,000, unless you're doing basic things: oil change, tire rotation, replacement of tires, and all that kind of stuff. But all the other stuff, nothing really major happens until after 60,000. Then you're going to have to start spending more on maintenance services after that, as the car gets older and things get worn out. But once you have that, what that does for you, if you have the logs, the maintenance service logs, and all the paperwork from 60,000 miles on, then what that can do for you is pretty much, you are able to sell the vehicle to somebody, even a dealership, for a higher Blue Book value. So if you go into Kelly Blue Book, you input year, make, model, mileage that you're at, and all this other kind of stuff. Did you do any upgrades or whatever? And they'll give you low to medium and high range of what the car is worth. Well, once you have that, and you can show the customers that, take snapshots of it or whatever, print it off. The next thing is you show them, hey, from the time I got the vehicle, whether it be at 0 or 50,000 or 60,000 or 80,000 or whatever, did the person that you bought it from have mileage service receipts, so you got it from them? Or at a bare minimum, once you received the car, did you start doing that? And ever since you received the car and been using the car, been in control of the car, what have you done to it? And you have all the maintenance service logs to show that. The maintenance services and upgrades and improvements and replacement parts and all that kind of stuff. And so by you showing it, while maybe even keep the paperwork showing when you bought it, what the mileage was at, and all that kind of stuff when you first bought it, and then from that point on, you started keeping the maintenance service logs. So you'll be able to sell it for a higher Blue Book value, whether you're selling it to a dealership or trading it in, or selling it to just some random person out there who wants to look it over and buy it. So the other thing that it does, this happened to me, which is when I left Colorado Springs, Colorado, and moved to Ridgefield, within the next, 5,000 miles, I needed an oil change. I took my car to the nearby Vancouver Hyundai Service Center, because I no longer lived in Colorado Springs, so I couldn't take it to the Colorado Springs Service Center, Hyundai Service Center. So I took it there, and I'm tracking that I pretty much need an oil change and like a tire rotation and basic inspection and all that, $100-$150 worth of services. I'm out at a nearby restaurant getting something to eat to kill time, and they call me up and like, you need coolant flush and transmission fluid and brake fluid and all these different things. And it was like $850-ish worth altogether, on top of the basics that I needed. And I didn't have my binder with me. I didn't have a tracker, which I'll go over here in a second, 3x5 card trackers of when each of these things, when the last mileage it was done, and when's the next mileage point that it needs to be done again. And so I didn't have that with me. So, thinking that, hey, they're the mechanics, they're the subject matter experts. They say it needs it done, and so I'll go with the experts' recommendations. So I go and they do all that stuff, and I pay $850, multiple hours go by and all that. Then I was like, what, that doesn't seem right. And like, I'm pretty good at keeping up with this kind of stuff and tracking it. I don't think I was that close to needing those other things again, like coolant and transmission and brake fluid and all that kind of stuff. So I went to my binder, pulled out the cards, and I was right. And so, like, for example, fuel injection is every 60,000 miles. Coolant replacement is every 60,000 miles. Brake fluid replacement is every 60,000 miles. Transmission fluid is every 60,000 miles. So when it comes to all these, fluids, uh, I was actually at that point in time at the halfway mark. So I still had 30,000 miles down. I had another 30,000 miles to go. And yet they're telling me that I needed this stuff. So I took my maintenance binder log and I went over there and I talked to them and you guys hit me up and told me I needed all this stuff when I actually didn't. I was supposed to be good for another 30,000 miles. Why? What the hell? And they're like, oh, well, see, this is the first time you're bringing in your vehicle to have services done, and we weren't tracking when's the last time these things were done. I thought that the Colorado Springs Hyundai Service Center computers talk to the Vancouver Hyundai Service Center computers. They're all Hyundai, so I thought they talk to each other. They don't. That's what I discovered, which they should. I don't know why they don't, but they should. And so they weren't tracking what I was tracking of when all these things were last done. So by catching that, they didn't want to get sued and all that, didn't want to have any headaches. So they're like, hey, here in the near future, he's going to be having I believe an upcoming $1,200 worth. He's going to need new brake pads for front and back. He needs new rotors, new tires, all this stuff. So I'm going to do up a memo, the boss, CEO person for that service center, and he did up a memo, signed off on it. They had a copy, I had a copy, and pretty much to show that in the future, here in the near future, when I come back for new services for brake pads and rotor pad replacements and things like that, they're going to take off several $100s worth off that future bill. And I just show that. They'll have a copy on hand too. They'll verify and all that kind of stuff, because they, whether they did it on purpose or not, to try to take advantage of me and trick me and think that I'm stupid and gullible and all this other kind of stuff. I have no idea. Maybe it was a complete accident. But by having the maintenance logs and then creating these trackers, and this is an example of what I do. So all the different services, what mileage each of these services are at, what was the exact mileage that each of these were last done, and then you take one of these, mileage that was last done, add 60,000. What's the next mileage my vehicle needs to be at to have that specific coolant flush and replacement, and transmission flush and replacement, brake fluid flush replacement, fuel injection, other than, of course, a normal oil change. And that is, if you don't know the rule of thumb, for 2,000 vehicles or newer, it's between 5,000 to 6,000 miles, your vehicle needs a new oil change. And then for any vehicle that is before 2,000, it's every 3,000 to 4,000 miles. So once the 2,000 vehicles came out, they could the engines were they can last longer. They're more efficient, so you can go further and longer without getting an oil change. Now, one extra thing that I do that my mechanic uncle informed me of, it's okay if every now and then you forget, especially when your mileage is still pretty low, but this is more like when you hit 100,000 or more miles, is I have the Hyundai Service Center, when they put in the quarts of oil, I was like, how many quarts does it take? Okay, whatever it takes, let's say it takes 4 quarts, for my vehicle, put in only 3. Why? Because then I add Lucas Oil Stabilizer for the big bottle. I put half of this in, and so this, is for 2 different oil changes, or a smaller bottle. Half this size would be, used once, and it helps with the lubrication and healthiness of your engine, helps with the vibration of the engine as it gets older and older. So, if my car takes 4 quarts of oil, I tell them, hey, put 3 in, and as soon as I get home, if this is already fully full, I would put in half of this, mix it in, with your oil, pour it into where the oil is, and then close it up. And the big bottle is a good use for 2 of those, for 2 oil changes. So that's one additional recommendation. When your car is starting to get older, do something like that, and so just a little extra healthy boost, pretty much. Um, so, and but yeah, have a tracker for your mileage. I have every 90,000 miles, spark plugs need to be replaced. I've already gone over the major fluids. Every 50K brake replacements, and those are usually there's front brake pads and the back brake pads, and on top of rotors as well. Keep track of that. Every 15,000 miles is engine filter replacement. Every 15,000 miles, cabin filter replacement. And then maybe keep track of if you have belt replacements or the pulleys and all that kind of stuff. Write down the mileage when they were last replaced to let the mechanics know if need be. And then another additional thing for like tax write-offs as well is if you've donated to any kind of charity, I would add that onto your taxes as well. Make sure you have the receipt proof of whatever charity place you donated to and how much. Have that paperwork proof, and you can let your tax person know about your charity as well. Like I said, use a mileage tracker app of some kind. I use MileIQ. On average, I was paying about $60. It might have gone up. I don't know. Since then, and swipe left, it was personal. Swipe right, it was business. And then go to the website, pull it all up when the year is done to give to your tax client, tax accountant person, and keep your records of all your tax receipts and paperwork from your tax accountant and all that for up to 7 years. 7 years goes by. Usually I have an accordion folder, and then I have all the receipts, I have all the paperwork, I have the 1040s, tax paperwork, all that in document protectors. It's all organized, separated with it, and then a cover sheet. 2023 taxes, keep on hand no later than 7 years, and then put that in its own separate slot in a like accordion folder, filing cabinet, whatever you have. And then after 7 years, pull it out and toss it, and then reuse the document protectors for something else. Okay. And then vehicle services. I already went over that. Oh, another thing. Pretty much take good care of your vehicle. If you take good care of your vehicle, it will take good care of you. I deeply believe that. It's kind of like believing in karma. So almost any time that I hear something weird, either an indicator light on your dash, came on, whether it's a tire thing, or it's a check engine light, or whatever, or I hear a weird squeak, or I feel something in the steering wheel, the alignment is off, whatever it is, you catch something. Pretty much, you need to stop being a rideshare driver. Think of safety first. Not only safety for you and your vehicle, but then safety for customers you're driving. Damage to a windshield, a tire blew or whatever. Don't be driving until you get all these major things looked at and fixed. That old saying, safety first. Your safety, the customer safety, really be thinking about that, okay? So take good care of your car. Spend whatever you need to spend. Start, like donating plasma or whatever, to putting money off to the side in an emergency savings account. And when your vehicle needs, replacement parts and repairs and, new fluids and belt replacements and brake pad replacements and tire replacements and windshield replacements, be willing to spend the money on taking care of your vehicle. You take good care of your vehicle or anything else that's expensive, technology, furniture, your home environment, your clothes or whatever. These things will last. I've seen, like memes all the time on Facebook of people who, bought, like a Cadillac, a vehicle in the 1950s. They take good care of it, and so it's lasted them all this time for about 70 years. Like, you take good care of stuff and keep up with the services and keep up with all the recommendations of how you're supposed to take care of a vehicle properly, and it will last. I've heard and saw stories of people. One woman in, I think, Nebraska, was delivering auto parts to all four corners of Nebraska for like 5 years, and she put 1.2 million miles from zero to 1.2 million miles in it was like 5 or 6 years total. And then they surprised her with having her deliver a box with brand new keys to a newer, I think 2018 Hyundai Elantra is what it was. So you can check out that video too. So it's like, hey, you take good care of it, and these things can last a long time. I'm a little over 150,000 miles on my 2018 Hyundai Kona. I've improved upon it inside and out, and it's already paid off. I paid it off 31 months ahead of time, and it's like, okay, now I don't really need to do any more major improvements. Just keep up with the maintenance services, and maybe on every other year do like a good vehicle detailing as well. So. So I take good care of anything that's mine. So good recommendation. And pretty much be like, don't be like Penny from The Big Bang Theory. Don't be like that episode where, she was taking Sheldon to like the Pottery Barn or whatever, return some, Star Wars sheets or whatever it was. And he's like, Penny, your check engine light is on. You might, need to, get it checked out. Oh, it's okay, honey. It's always on. Even more of a reason to get it checked out. If you don't, get things checked out, well, especially when lights are appearing, that means something's wrong. And you just ignore it like Penny did, and what happened? Eventually, she threw a rod, and then her vehicle became a giant paperweight and couldn't, be... it would be cheaper to buy another used car than to make repairs, because it's a domino effect. One thing that's something wrong with the car will affect another thing, will affect another thing, will affect another thing. So instead of taking care of the thing from the very beginning that could have prevented the domino of it affecting more things, you could have prevented all that because you thought ahead, you cared about your vehicle, your equipment, and you're like, oh, check engine light came on, or I'm hearing a weird squeak or whatever. I'm going to go get it checked out. I need to be willing to spend the money. I need to put some emergency money off to the side, because one thing can affect another, can affect another, can affect another, can affect another. It's a domino effect. And then instead of spending 1%, now you're spending, 10, 20, 30 times that amount, because you weren't willing to do the right thing and to take care of and do the proper, responsible thing of getting things checked out and taken care of as quickly as humanly possible. So if your any kind of vehicle service center provides a maintenance coupon book, highly, highly recommend that you take advantage of that. I did when I was in Colorado Springs. The Phil Long Hyundai in Colorado Springs, the service center, you buy this booklet, has $1,000 worth of maintenance service coupons in it. They had 3 or 4 like $50 oil change coupons, and the whole booklet costs $180. So the oil changes themselves cover the oil change, and yet there's still another $850 worth of other services as well. So spending $180 to get $1,000 worth, including multiple, I think it was 3 or 4 oil changes, where you go through and pretty much you just it covers the actual oil and stuff. I don't know if it covers the labor. I don't think so. I think all you have to do, pull out that booklet, they write off and sign off on it, and then you pay for like the labor, and that's it. So if you know of any place that does those kind of maintenance booklets, totally worth spending the little extra money immediately, right away, now. It will save you so much more money in the long run. You're getting 5 times the maintenance services. So you're spending $180 and you're getting about $1,000 worth. At least that's how they did it. So if any other vehicle maintenance service kind of location does something like that, take a look into it. And if it is worth it, Even if you're spending 180, it gives you like $500-$600 worth. It's worth it. All right, if you're doubling your money pretty much, and they're very useful coupons, highly recommend taking part in that. And other than that, the only other thing that I can think of is, other than the tracker, 3x5 tracker, when was the last services done, and then what's the new mileage that when those specific services will need to be done again. Doing your homework ahead of time, whoever you primarily go to for services, writing down things like fuel injection, coolant, and all that, not only at what mileage, but what is the cost of getting those at the service center. So, Vancouver Hyundai services, I asked them this, and pretty much it's, they told me every 60,000 miles, your fuel injection is needed, replacement. That's $185 each time it needs to be done. Coolant replacement every 60,000 miles, $190. Brake fluid replacement, every 60,000 miles, $185. Brake replacement, $320 for front or back pads, but it's like one pair. So if you need both front and back, that would be $640 for new brake pads. Engine filter, which is every 15,000 miles, $45. Cabin filter every 15,000 miles, $80. Transmission fluid replacement every 60,000 miles, and that costs $285. Spark plug replacement every 90,000, and it's $23 per spark plug, and my Kona takes 4. The oil filter every 5,000 to 6,000 miles, and it's $45 for that. Rotors is $100 per rotor when those need to be replaced. And the labor it used to be $130 an hour, and now because of inflation, it's now $158 an hour. So I have not only a tracker, and I redo this constantly. When I get like a new coolant tomorrow, then I'll be doing a new one. It was done at this current mileage when I churned it in, and then add $60,000 number, 60,000 miles number to that. And then that will be the next time I will need it, which will probably be a little over 200,000 miles. And then, so, you do all this, you're doing your homework, you're gaining knowledge, because knowledge is power. So you're making it where you can sell things at a higher value. You can get tax write-offs, so you can get the money you make from rideshare driving, get more bang for your buck. You're not, getting any surprises of, when the vehicle needs this service, that service needs this replacement, that replacement. You have a really good idea tracker already, identifying what needs replaced, how much is it going to cost, plus labor and all that. And you're not getting taken advantage of by the service industry if you go from one place to another place to another place, because you have a tracker of when that specific service was last done, and the next mileage it will needs to be done again. So knowledge is power, and you're mitigating your risks and your circumstances, your headaches, your stress, and you're not being caught with your pants down, pretty much. And this, so keeping track of all these different details and thinking ahead and all that kind of stuff will definitely save you time, energy, money, stress, and all that. Now, very last thing is being a rideshare driver. For those who are going to be drivers, I during my time, 5 years rideshare driving, made rules of thumb for customers and for drivers. So rules for me and rules of how to interact with customers. So one rule that I would make is like, okay, it's summertime. So if I can, especially even when COVID-19 was going on, as long as it wasn't a heavy, pour down rainstorm or whatever, I would either have the windows fully rolled down instead of having the air conditioner on. Why not have Mother Nature wind? Unless the customer asks you to fully roll it up, to have it rolled up, because especially women with long hair, short hair, it flying all over the place and all that. So when I'm going through the small town area, I prefer to either have the windows cracked or fully open, rolled down. And then when I'm about to get on the freeway, I either roll them up to just a little crack, or I fully roll them up and turn on the air conditioner, either or. So there's like a rule of thumb I make for myself. I have a back seat organizer in the back of my passenger seat that holds 2 bottles of water. There's napkins. There's these little pockets near the top with 6 different flavored Crystal Light powder packets. They can grab one each. I also have 3 different types of gum, 2 packs each. One Orbit mint, 2 different Trident cinnamon, and 2 different fruity Trident, because Orbit and Trident is the best recommended by dentist type of gum for healthiness of your teeth. It has a certain chemical in it that keeps your teeth healthy and strong. So if it's, I make rules of thumb of like, if this person is traveling like under 5 miles, for instance, then if they don't see the water, they don't see the gum, they don't know about it, then I'm not really going to offer it to them. If they see it and they ask for it, then I'll offer it to them. But if it's more than 5 mile drive, then I'll offer them, hey, if you didn't know, I got chargers in here, pull down chargers, retractable chargers. I've got bottles of water. Here's a water line garbage can when you're done with it. Crystal Light powder packets of different flavors. I've got Trident gum, Orbit gum and stuff, 3 different types of gum. Let me know if you want. I grab one of each. I have 2 ready to one of each, brand new, still wrapped up, and then the other one's unwrapped. Grab all 3, hand it to them, and then they choose one, and then hand them back to me. Don't let them keep all the packs of gum. That's expensive, so like one to maybe 2 pieces max per person, and have them hand the remaining packs back to you. But it's like a rule of thumb that if they don't see it and it's 5 miles or less, then I'm not really going to offer to them unless they ask for it. Then I'll, of course I'll, offer to them. I'm not going to deny them. If they're done with the bottles of water, whether they drank all of it or not, and if they left it in the back seat or they threw it in the garbage, as long as they didn't crush it, I pull them out. I dump the rest of it. I bring them home. I rinse them out with scalding hot water, and then I refill them with scalding hot water, put them in the fridge overnight, and I reuse the bottles of water again. So that way I'm not wasting it, and where I just have to keep buying more and more and more water. So I'm reusing the bottles. Those who are drivers, one thing is, if you're going to be in this line of work of rideshare driving, you need to have discipline. You need to have patience. You need to learn to bite your tongue, and don't disrespect the customers, unless of course they attack you, unless they put their hands on you. Then do what you got to do. But otherwise, you got to realize, even if they're being really annoying, really weird, being disrespectful, bite your tongue, become a yes man. Like, yeah, I agree with you. Even if you really don't, tell them what they want to hear, show them what they want to see, because how often do you get a repeat customer? Very rarely. It's not going to really happen very often. So the fact of the matter is whoever this person is being rude or disrespectful or annoying, or blaring their music through your Bluetooth or whatever it is. You got to realize that they're either going to be gone in about 5 minutes to like maximum, depending on how far you're taking them, how long the trip is, maybe an hour, usually within 5 minutes to 30 minutes on average. So within 5 minutes to 30 minutes, you're going to drop them off. You got to get paid and maybe get a tip. And you tolerated them and showed them the proper respect and kindness. And you're probably never going to see them again. So that is another rule of thumb of, you got to learn to bite your tongue, stay calm, stay cool, stay collective, keep control of your emotions, and don't be rude. Don't be disrespectful if you can, handle it, and I think in my entire, 7,100 fares, 5 years of driving, I had one really disrespectful customer in Colorado Springs. And she was the only person I gave a 1 star to. Everybody else I gave a 5 star. She was a belligerent, disrespectful drunk. Be willing to adapt to customers' requests, like when it comes to routes. So routes they want to take, if you're following the GPS, where it's telling you to go, you might even have to adjust a bit because you know that, oh, it wants to take you this way. You saw there was a construction going on, there was an accident. You maybe let them be aware of that. But if they're like, I've had customers who are like, where are you taking me? Well, why are you taking this route? And all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I'm just following the GPS, or I know a bit of a faster way than what the GPS is telling me. What a lot of customers, they're either so used to routines and they want it their way or the highway. And I'm like, if you want me to go a very specific route, please point me in the right direction. Tell me when to turn left, right, whatever, get off whatever exit. Give me directions and I'll take your directions. I will adapt. I won't follow and listen to the GPS if you don't want me to make them feel more comfortable. But you also got to explain to them, and I hope more and more customers understand this, that the way I've always looked at it is nowadays there's anywhere from about 3 to probably 15 different routes you can take to get to the same destination. Does it really matter if we get there 1 minute earlier or 10 minutes later? And it's like, as long as I get you to your final destination safe and sound, does it really truly matter? For most of them, 99% of them, it doesn't, but some people freak out because you're taking a different route than what they are specifically used to. Or you can even ask them, do you mind if I take a different route than what the GPS is telling me? Because I'm aware that there's heavy traffic, so I want to take back roads. As long as hopefully they're being aware, and it's like I'm going in the proper direction of where their final stop is, usually they're perfectly fine with it. So like I said before, have make sure you have some good cleaning supplies for Breeze. After so many customers pass through, vacuum, wipe things down, wipe down or brush off or smack the floor mats and all that. Vacuum if you can, wipe things down, spray for Breeze. Wipe up after so many customers go through, or before, of course, the one day work is done, before you go home and you go in your home house or apartment, clean up afterwards, or by the next morning before you get back on the road and start driving again. And that's about all I have so this is all my personal 5-year 7,100 fares worth of rideshare driving advice. I was a solid 2.5 year, over 5,700 fares for Lyft 5-star driver. And for Uber, I was an average of a 4.96, 4.97 average rated star driver for 2.5 years, doing just under 1,300 fares in 2.5 years with Uber while I was, and I did both of those while doing full-time college. Both in Colorado Springs and the surrounding areas, and then when I came here, signed up for Uber and was doing it in the Vancouver, Portland, and all surrounding areas around those areas. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was very useful, very helpful. And if you are also someone who you think that you're too scared to stand up for yourself, too worried about someone putting their hands on you and harming you, something happening, you're not a very interactive person, you feel very uncomfortable, you're too quiet or whatever, then maybe rideshare driving is not for you. Maybe something more like Amazon delivery from your vehicle, delivering their packages, or DoorDash or Uber Eats. Rideshare driving is not for everybody. It's not only your personality, but also what kind of vehicle you're driving, gas mileage, where in your environment of where you live, how far are you from the populated areas. It's all these different things you have to consider, so that way, even if you go out and you had to drive a far distance to get to the more populated area, and then you had to refill up on gas and the maintenance services, you're probably losing money rather than making money if you don't think about all these specific details, okay? So that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed this new updated video on this category. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, make any comments, hopefully they're positive, make any recommendations on how I can make this even better for future. And before I log off, one last thing I forgot, I'm going to show this on Excel roster. This is what I created and used to get, that was for 2012, and I give a brief example of everything, of all the receipts rolled up and in phone bills and everything else, and then what was my gross and net income from the Uber site, and then and I take all this information with the Mile IQ for the mileage write-off stuff, and I take all this information, I send it to my tax accountant, and then he takes all this information, plugs it all in, and and gets me tax write-offs and stuff, and then does my taxes. So that's an example of what I do, tracking, fuel and maintenance repairs and all that kind of stuff, pulling out the receipts, adding it all up for each of these different categories, and doing a nice, neat, organization fashion. So that's all I have. And you guys have a good day and a good summer, and think more ahead, and it will save you money, get you better tips, and get you better ratings for rideshare driving. All right, you guys take care and have a good night. Bye.